Hi. Uh, this is my second appendix section for the Making Vattu video essay project. I made the last one, the last appendix section after I'd finished drawing the whole climax thing. Uh, and since then, I have finished the thumbnails for the whole rest of the book. Here, it's all in there, right? I've gone over it a couple times. It's 1,279 pages, the whole thing. Um, I will not talk about the text, but I'm pretty happy with it, I guess. Hard to say. Um, it's an ending. It's weird not having it's weird not having writing to do anymore. There's been a lot of like downtime throughout working on this where I've written far enough ahead or I just wasn't engaged enough with the writing of the project where I could just sort of disengage from from thinking about it in a writing way, and it just became this like drawing, thumbnailing and drawing more of a just technical process. But it's always been there as a thing that I can return to and think about, and a groove I can get back into because had the whole structure to some extent memorized, and now it's just not there anymore, and that's weird. Like I have done all of the writing that there is to do about it, and all these big structures that I made. I don't know, they're just done. I have like 30 some pages left to draw, and and then that's the whole thing. I don't know, it's a weird feeling. This is a weird feeling. I'm having sort of like preliminary end of a big thing feelings. Um, like I can see in advance the sort of outlines of the critical and negative thoughts that I might eventually have about this project. I think in order to work on something for this long, maybe to work on anything at all, you have to like compartmentalize or sort of, I don't know, abstract yourself away from a lot of the negative thoughts that you might come up with about the thing. And I don't habitually, I don't talk about this stuff in any sort of like public, like any imposter syndrome stuff or any like negativity about what I'm working on in public really because it doesn't fit with how I'm trying to run my professional face. But there is a lot of that, and then I'm like, what happens when it's over and I don't have to like sort of fool myself into being totally positive about it? Uh, I feel confident that I can turn the negativity into just forward momentum because I don't tend to look back very hard at stuff that I've already done. I don't think it's kind of like being in a. This sounds bleaker than this sounds bad, but I don't mean it to be bad. It's kind of like being in a collapsing relationship. Like there's all these things that on some level you recognize as being problems, but you don't. You know, you have a mental stop on fully seeing the problems that the stop evaporates after it's over, and then you can like assess it more clearly. Hmm. It's a horribly bleak thing, but I don't know what to compare. You know, it's I don't know what to compare this to. Uh, like it's just such a huge span of time doing like one thing. I don't know what to compare it to. I've been talking to my therapist a lot about like templates, like ways of things to compare myself and my life and how I'm seen and how I behave and what I'm doing, things to compare those things to in order to understand them better, which is I think something that I've always struggled with. And um, as I'm like confronting the fact of myself being at an age that I remember myself considering old or like a fully established adult. That problem I have with that is sort of becoming more clear to me. Um, so I don't know how to like assess myself, and I don't really know how to assess the work that I'm doing. This is related. I wrote all this down. I'm kind of rambling. There's aspects of Vattu and the work that I do in comics that I compare to other works, to other work, and to other artists' relationships to their work. But now I'm like 16 years into a career in an industry that's been so unusually volatile and shifting for its entire existence, that is comics in America, um, that I fully don't know how to assess where I'm at and what I'm doing and what I'm going to be doing, or like what people doing this tend to do at my age, what I can expect to be doing in 10 years if I'm still able to do this, you know. Um, what it means to make something like this and how to like project forward, you know. Um, like everything else in my life, I imagine I will just um, defer thinking about that too hard in favor of just diving in more and more to obsessive creative work. Uh, on some level, on some level, that has always worked and will continue to. We'll see. At the same time as all of that thinking, I'm trying to ramp up um, a promotional effort for the ending of the comic as much as I can manage. I'm getting together like a more well constructed little press kit than I ever have before, and sending stuff out to a bunch of pop culture outlets. Unfortunately, the whole middle of pop culture news sites has been kind of obliterated over the past several years. Um, so most sites that are about comics are basically just like Marvel movie press release places. That's how it is. I don't know. I do like making work in a sort of grimy and marginal part of pop culture, and I've always kind of liked that. Um, but it would be great if this thing had more of a footprint. Seems like the maybe in a lot of ways the window in which I talked about this some in the video essay, but the window in which like an individual doing a big thing like this could like gain traction or be novel, kind of closed, and maybe it's less remarkable or something. Um, Lost my train of thought. Give me a second. Yeah, I just want I just want there to be more noise about this thing, I guess. And I have given up feeling uh, self-conscious or neurotic about self-promotion. I just want to fucking do it. 12 years of my life, I want people to fucking talk about this thing for a couple days. um, and Vatu's been a fundamental engine of how I uh, have been able to make a living, and I have an audience that seems to really get what I'm going for, um, and I tremendously appreciate that. Um, but I just want it. I just want to make it as big a thing as possible when it ends, basically. Part of that is I think I've nailed this down at this point. And in the near future, I'm going to start formally announcing it. But the ending date is going to be Monday, September 12th. The whole thing is 1279 pages, and the last several pages will go up on that day. That's probably how it's going to work. I think that's the day, though. I mean, I can manage that. I'm going to have a rap party, sort of, on Twitch that night, I think. Some big event. I'll probably replay all the video essay material and just like hang out and talk. What else do you do? Um, I'm aiming also to launch the crowdfunding campaign for the fourth and final print book of Vattu exactly on that day also, or shortly before. Um, and a new print, like just some sort of merchandisey stuff, maybe. That's also the Monday before the Small Press Expo in DC, which is like the biggest independent comics event in the country, probably. Um, so maybe there's some way of, I don't know, having those things, having that be related. I don't know. At least it'll be fun, and it'll be fun to be there with this project done. Um, okay, sorry, a little rambly. Uh, this has been the second appendix. I'll do at least one more, and I'd like this sort of verbal thing to be a part of how I think about comics and interface with readers more in the future. More on that eventually. Um, Thank you. Goodbye.